remember that the light felt especially yellow that day. I think it was something about those painted cinder block walls in the early morning. It was the first day of school, first day of my sophomore year, and I was walking into my new history classroom. I remember feeling so self-conscious. Like, I thought that my backpack was way too bright, and that I had to sit in this desk that was too big, and it was in the front and center of the room, which I just hated. So I paused for a minute before I sat down, looked around the room, and on the back wall, there was a poster with pink triangles on it. I had learned not too long before from a friend, maybe, or from a novel, or this elderly woman at my church. I'd learned what those pink triangles meant, so I knew that part already. But it didn't really feel like I knew it, because I hadn't learned it from a textbook, or a lecture, or a PowerPoint. I learned it from a friend, or a novel, or an elderly woman at my church. And those didn't feel like places that I could learn history in. But here was a history classroom. And here was that poster. It was real. It was really hanging there on the wall. And this knowledge that I had found folded up, like this snippet of my history that felt like it had seeped in through my pores, something that I didn't trust entirely, it was true. In 1979, there really was a March on Washington for lesbian and gay rights. And they really made a poster. And then someone at the Gilder Lehrman Institute of American History actually printed that poster. Like it was history, like it was real. And they sent it out to high school teachers like it was normal, like it was just as concrete as the 1950s campaign button that was hanging next to it. That was the first time I saw proof that the word lesbian could fit in a history classroom. It was hard for me to believe for a long time, and honestly, sometimes it still is, that this thing that I'm thinking about all the time has a history. That it's real, that there's evidence of it, it's changed things, it's had an impact. But here was proof that my history teacher believed that it mattered. He knew that it was history. He knew about something that happened in 1979, and he had chosen to hang that poster up on the wall and teach about it, like it was real. That made me feel real. And so I sat down, and I stopped worrying about Mike's backpack being too bright for a minute, and instead, I just kept looking at that poster and feeling warm in my chest, and in my cheeks, and in my fingertips.
We have lived our lives and found happiness for millennia. Centuries before that mistranslated holy book, we've told stories of our love, our heartache, our heroism. Gilgamesh, Achilles, Hyacinthus. We are not some recent trend that will go away within a decade.
Ancient texts like the Kama Sutra included fluidity of sexuality and gender. With the arrival of British colonizers in the 19th century, new laws were imposed that criminalized same-sex relationships and alternative gender expression.
Joan of Arc adamantly refused to wear women's clothing or to style her hair in the female-appropriate style, a blasphemous offense at the time. She reportedly said, "As for women's clothing, I shall not put it on until it please God."
The novel Frankenstein is a queer allegory written by Mary Shelley, a polyamorous bisexual.
In 1914, E.M. Forster wrote a novel about a gay man with a happy ending. It is dedicated to a happier year.
Mademoiselle Maupin was a bisexual icon and both famous opera singer and kick-ass fencer. She lived with an unabashed freedom and donned no masks other than for her roles in the opera.
Marsha P. Johnson, a well-known fixture among the drag queens and trans women on Christopher Street. She was present in 1969 when the police raided the Stonewall Inn, proclaiming, "I got my civil rights," and throwing a shot glass at a mirror. The shot glass heard around the world is believed by some to be the inciting action of the riots.
Pepper LaBeija was an American drag queen and fashion designer known as the last queen of the Harlem drag balls. As the mother of the House of LaBeija, she emphasized the importance of supporting young gay and trans folks arriving on the scene after being ostracized from their families.
On October 11, 1992, actress Dave Robinson dumped the ashes of his partner, Warren Krause, on the grounds of the White House in protest of President George W. Bush's inaction in fighting AIDS.
In 1946, a trans man named Reed Erickson graduated from LSU. 20 years later, he made a foundation that funded research in gender-affirming healthcare from its headquarters here in Baton Rouge. Gender-affirming care in Louisiana is quite literally older than our current state constitution. Trans identities are not new.